Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So a couple of nights ago on Wednesday night was the annual Mirowitz Middle School versus staff basketball game. It's a big deal at Mirowitz every year, and my kids were very excited about this. Of course, Henry's on the middle school team, and Coach Gary had recruited Benny as an alumni to come play on the staff team as a ringer. So I got to have two kids in the game. It's going to be great. The game was going really well. It was actually a very good game. I'm happy to tell you more about it at Kiddush Lunch. And then at halftime, they let the younger kids, the elementary school kids, sort of play their own game. And in the course of playing their game during halftime, Joey got very injured. Someone was trying to slap the ball out of his hand. Instead of slapping the ball, they slapped his thumb, and he was in excruciating pain. And the end of the story is his thumb had swollen to be about 3 times the size. His left thumb was about 3 times the size as his right thumb. And so, of course, we're at a Jewish event. There's a number of doctors there. And every one of them is coming up, checking on him. And immediately they all say, you need to go and get x-rays for this. So luckily they told us where to go. There's pediatric orthopedics. Who knew that even existed, right? And so we go, and lo and behold, Joey has a fracture on his left thumb, which is why you see him in the sling today, in case you were curious. And Lauren and I, of course, are very stressed about this entire situation. Here we were going to a nice basketball game. There was a dinner afterwards. It was going to be a real simple evening that turned into a much more stressful evening for us. And meanwhile, Joey, who's in excruciating pain, is essentially laughing through the whole thing, right? And really showed his resilience that, this is sad. He's going to miss a couple weeks of playing in his baseball games, right? Et cetera, et cetera. But it was a great reminder for us how resilient children can be. Right? That so oftentimes, we as adults, something happens. If someone had fractured my thumb, I probably would have been, screaming in pain for days and days and not wanted to show up to work. I've heard about these stories many times, right? But children, right, they jump right back at it. Joey was back at school the next day, no big deal, playing with his friends. And the biggest challenge is to remind him that, there's certain things he can't play with or do because we don't want him to injure the thumb further, right? Why am I telling you this whole story? Because, in addition to it being a good story, but because in the Haftarah this morning from the book of Hosea, Hosea's entire message is all about resilience for our people. Right? Hosea basically runs through the fact that we as a people are going to deal with a lot of challenges as Jews. And what Hosea tries to remind us is we have to overcome those challenges and be resilient. And that's how we're going to thrive as a Jewish people throughout history. That's the entire message of the Haftarah. And I think it's such a good reminder for us, right? We get a lot thrown our way as a Jewish community, right? There's a lot of people who are constantly trying to attack us, trying to fight against us. And Hosea reminds us how important it is that we are resilient and that we rise up above it each and every day as well. This week for our Jewish people was not the easiest week yet again. Right? There was a blood libel in the New York Times, right, against our people, right, that was just horrific in every way imaginable. And yet our job is to continue to be resilient, to continue to rise above it. And I think Hosea's message is such an important message for us, especially in this post-October 7th world, that we have to be reminded every single day that people are going to throw things our way, people are going to do things to us or attempt to do things to us, and yet our job is to continue to stand up against it, to be resilient, and remind ourselves, just like when children may hurt themselves and they pop right back up and they're resilient, that we can be resilient each and every day as individuals and as a kehillah, as a community as well. Shabbat Shalom.